Thank you all for coming today. It's my pleasure to introduce Weihua Li from Columbia College in Chicago, and she's presenting Flipped Classroom for Differential Equations.
Okay, thank you so much for coming to my talk. That's right, I will talk about flipped classroom for differential equations, and I'm a math professor at Columbia College, Chicago. So let me quickly talk about my school. Okay, so this is my institution. My institution, Columbia College Chicago, is an urban institute, which is located in the heart of downtown Chicago. It's about like 2 blocks away from Lake Michigan and about like 10 minutes walk to the Millennium Park and also the Art Institute. And it's also very close to the museum campus. So my school is a private institution that offers about more than 60 undergraduate and graduate degree programs. Those programs are, in media, creative and media arts, and liberal arts and business, such as like the fine arts, dance, art history, arts management, and TV, film and television, so on. However, we don't have math majors, and we don't even have math-related majors. So which kind of students do we have? And let's look. I would like to show you a video and to give you some idea of our students. So this is actually the video of the Manifest, which is an arts festival. It holds once a year, the day before the commencement. So this is a manifest from last year. And here's a video. I will not show you the whole video. I will just show part of this to give you an idea. Okay, so from the video, it's very clear that our students are very talented. They are passionate. They are working very hard to pursue their dreams. Meanwhile, we have to admit that math is not their focus.
Weihua, I think we're only seeing your...
I'm sorry?
Oh, I think we're only seeing your presentation, not the link that you had pulled up.
Oh, not the link you pulled up. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Oh, that's bad. Give me 1 second. I'll see. Okay, let me go back. Let me copy this and show. Let me see if I can new share. Okay. Can you see the link right now?
Yes.
The manifest? Okay. So this is, right. Oh, give me 1 second. I'll share it again. I don't know why it's, let me share. Okay. So from the manifest actually is a showcase of the students' work. So you can see that they are very talented and they are passionate and working very hard, like I mentioned before, to pursue their dreams. Just however, math is not their focus. Okay. So for all the students at our school, they are required to take one math class to fulfill their math requirement. So the majority of the students will take one of the intermediate math classes. We have like 3 intermediate math classes: college math, liberal arts math, quantitative reasoning. Okay. As for differential equation is required for one major, which is audio arts and acoustics. And differential equation is also one elective for a few other majors. However, this major, the audio arts and acoustics, this major is shrinking. So which means that fewer and fewer students are required to take differential equation. In order to attract more students to take this class, also in order for the students to take more control over their learning and enjoy a student-centered, well, faculty-guided learning environment. So I decided to flip the classroom of differential equations starting from 2022. So in order to flip a classroom, I think it's very important to make sure that every student have access to the textbook. So I checked online and I compared the several open resource textbook. Then I decided to use this textbook, which is written by William Drench from Trinity University. This textbook is well written and it covers all the materials that I would like to cover. And also the explanation are very clear with good amount of exercise problems. So I decided to use this textbook. This textbook is all free if the student want to download as a PDF file, and it also has, can be purchased. You can purchase that from Amazon with a physical copy. So I post that on Canvas. Our school is using Canvas to manage all the classes. So this is a structure. I will show you just 1 week of my class from last year to show the basic structure of this flipped classroom. For example, for the week 2, our class meets twice a week. So on Tuesday and Thursday. So before each class period, I will sign the preparation for the students, and I expect the students to finish this preparation before the class starts. And then during class, there will be class participation. During class, there will be the handouts the students can work on. And then afterwards, there will be homework. And then for the preparation, for example, for the Tuesdays, that day for the preparation, I ask the students to read the page, some material on the textbook, and also want them to watch the video. And this video actually is recorded by me. I recorded this video. It's kind of like a mini lecture, but it's not very long. Okay, I usually just limit the length of the video to be no more than 2 minutes. Usually it's like 5 to 8 minutes, depending on the material. So I recorded this and post them online, and students can watch them, ask them to watch them. And after they read the textbook and they watch the video, I usually give them a few very basic problems to work on. These are, you will see that what's the standard form of general first order linear equation. It's not hard, but this problem just to help me to check, to say if the students really read the book and really watch the video. Okay, and so then before the class starts, at the beginning of the class, I will check their preparation and then to make sure that they do. And usually students are really good. And then during class, the first thing we do is, like I said, I will check their preparation, ask them for questions, and then, answer their questions, or sometimes they will give them a quick summary. And then I give them a handout to work on. For that today, I actually gave them 6 problems to work on, and it ranged from like the basic problems and then getting more and more advanced or complicated or more interesting. And then I ask the students to form their own groups so they can have their own group. They work with their group members, interact with their classmates, have a little bit of fun. And also I always bring snacks for them just to have a little bit of fun. So they work and they interact with their classmates. And then while I was there with them. So if they have questions or if they need help, I'm there. Okay. So this is the classwork. And after the class, and we will set aside time to make sure that everybody understood these problems. And then after that, I give them homework. And homework is another way to say, the practice. So I would like to say that's a practice and assessment. So learning math is really, to me, my philosophy that to learn math actually is to do math. You need to work on the problem. Okay, I always tell my students that, it's really hard to tell whether or not you understand it. If you just sit there, listen to the instructor, you felt like you understood it, but you are not sure until you work on some problems. If you work on the problem, you know how to do it, that means that you do understand that. So that's why I think it's very important, for the assessment. Even though the preparation will count 15%, I check every time before, at the beginning of the class. And then the class participation will count another 15%. For the class participation, right now it's still kind of like the COVID. So I do have some students in the past, they were sick because of the COVID or because of the cold. So if they were absent from my class, I usually ask them to finish up the handout, the class activity, on their own, and I can help them, and then they can get some credit. I really don't want the students to lose points just because they were sick or they got COVID and couldn't come to class. So that's the class participation. And then the other part, a big chunk of the points are for homework. So I give them 30% for homework. I always tell my students that it's very important to practice. You have to practice and then understand the material better. So the homework, I give them homework assignments after each class period, and which counts 30%. So practice, preparation, practice, class participation, practice, and homework is also practice. And then I did give them 3 exams. My philosophy that practice is good, but once in a while, we do need to check to see if we really understand that. So the 3 exams, we have 15-week semester. So basically, like, first exam is to check how they do for the first 5 weeks, but it's not very heavy. It's like 10%. And then the second exam to check how they whether or not they really understand the material bit for the second 5 weeks. But the last exam, the exam 3, counts 20%. That's because that's comprehensive, and also I give them 2 parts of that exam. Usually the third exam will have 2 parts. One part is in-class exam. The other part is take-home exam. For the take-home exam, I give them kind of like more, advanced problems, like a little bit complicated one. They need to think about that. But for the in-class, it's a check of the basic understanding. If they do have the basic understanding of the class or of the material, of the techniques, of the, so that's why for the third exam, it counts 20%. So this is my my assessment of that. And now I put a question mark there for the flipped classroom. Okay. So my question, so what I'm trying to say that there are very good parts of the flipped classroom. It is student-centered, engaged, and fun. Okay, my students love that, which can be reflected from their evaluation. And here they said it worked very well. And that's that students first flipped the classroom, but made learning engaging and fun. They have all the semester, twice a week, they sat with their classmates, interacted with them, talked about math, and worked on that. And they made mistake, and then they corrected that, and they got help or guide from me, or they get from their classmates. Out of this makes the learning, a lot of fun. Okay, it is not that kind of boring or like stressful. So that's the very good part of that. And at the very beginning, when I first tried to flip my classroom, I was actually a little bit nervous because this is the first time we do this for the advanced class. So I was a little bit worried. I said, oh, I don't know how it would go and whether or not my students like it and whether or not it is a good pedagogy for the students, But it turned out that to be worked very well. Okay. However, I would like to say that from my experience, because I have been taught that since 2002, I flipped the classroom since 2022, and depending on the class size, what I mean that since I mentioned at the very beginning, since fewer and fewer students are required to take this class as required for their major. Okay, so the class size is getting smaller and smaller. And I remember that one semester I had only 3 students, and I was really kind of like hesitant. I thought, oh, should I still use flipped classroom or not? Then at the very beginning, I talked with my students. I talked about them, we can do flipped classroom, explain it to them what it looked like. And also mention that, I can always go back to the traditional, lecture and that way. But then my student felt like a flipped classroom sounded a good idea. So we did that for the first few weeks. And then one of my students got COVID and was absent. And then another student got COVID, was absent. And they had like the overlap for like a few days. It was, so during that time, it was really hard to have a flipped classroom. Think about it, you have only 3, and then one got COVID, was not there. And then for 1 or 2 class periods, I only have 1 student. So what I did that, but a good thing that we can always change our pedagogy based on the class we have. So during that few weeks, what I did that is kind of like the combination of flipped classroom plus the traditional lecture. Okay. And one time when I had only 1 student, okay, I sat with that student and we discussed that, and he had questions, and I just wrote and worked out the examples on the board. It all worked well. But I felt like, to have an ideal flipped classroom, I think the class size is quite important. Okay. I guess if the class size is too big, you have too many students. Um, I guess probably flipped classroom may not be that easy, but unfortunately, I never had a class that has too many students. So this is my observation. It's very preliminary because I just started flipped classroom from 2022. I really would like to know if you have any questions or any comments, and also would like to learn from your experience. Questions?
Hi.
Hi.
My question was, I apologize for my voice. Did you consider Kurt Bryan's semiote textbook when you were looking at textbooks?
I couldn't remember, honestly. When I look at the textbook, I couldn't remember, but I think I found this from their website. It's MIA website. And then I think I did look at some other like 2 or 3 books and then decided to use this one. But I'd love to consider that book. Can you please tell me that name again?
Kurt Bryan, he's on the schedule because I think he talked about his textbook last night at
Oh,
the
I see.
conference. Um,
Oh, I see.
but yes, the official semiote differential equations textbook. I used it when I used the flipped classroom modality. Was it last year? I did 2 semesters flipped. And I like your ideas. I mean, I did the groups. One semester they formed their own groups. Actually, no, I actually formed the groups, I think, for them, but I let them move around and find the right group. So I
Right.
really like that you were doing that. I think that's really effective. I really like the structure you have through Canvas and how it's really well laid out. I think I could learn something from that myself. But no, it's really good. I think everything you're doing is on par with what I've tried to do, and a lot of the ideas I would be willing to share, you're already doing. So I think it's really good.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Yeah, I will definitely check that book. Yeah. Yeah,
And real
that's good.
quick, I just want to mention, and I'll let other people talk. I really like that you mentioned when you do the lectures, the videos ahead of time, the mini lectures, you keep them short. I try to do the same thing, keep them as short as possible. I'm impressed you can keep it to
Yeah.
5 to 8 minutes. I usually am happy if I can keep it under 20, but no, I
Right.
think that's really good. And then the students, they still get,
Yeah.
and I've had feedback from a longer versions and shorter versions, and the feedback is like, make it fast. We can always learn more later, but I think having a long video deters them a lot. So I think that's really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, the reason that because I actually made some other videos during pandemic when pandemic just started. That's spring 2020. So our school suspended all the in-person classes. I have to teach all the classes online. So at that time, I made a lot of videos, just post them online. And I realized that when I made like 15 or 16 minutes, the video, I asked my students, they said, oh, they didn't listen to them. They just they like the 2 times or like 3 times. They just wanted to look at some essential information. So I said, okay. So why flip this classroom? Flip the classroom of differential equation. I kind of like a mini lecture, just to put some essential information there, like the technique, the material, like the methods, and usually it's no more than 10 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes, usually, depending.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think Greg, yeah, you are muted.
Yeah, I guess a comment and a question. I'm not sure, but I've used Trench as well. I love that book, but it's advanced. It's really a rigorous treatment of differential equations more than I think this other book. And Judson is also a very approachable, open, free book. But you don't have to restrict yourself to one book anymore, right? You can take
Yeah,
of all kinds of books, however you want to do it.
right.
I don't flip my classes, and I want to. I'm a bit hesitant because it looks like a lot of work to put together all those little videos and readings and to get it all set up. And I want it to go well, And
I
so,
I have I have to say that did I cut your line? I have to say that for the first time it is a lot,
yeah,
because for every single class period, like for every single section, like sometimes if the section is long, like the method of undetermined coefficients, that's a long section. So I have to separate them into like 2 small videos. So which means that you need to spend a lot of time to do the videos, and it is not easy. Trust me, at the very beginning, if I wrote something wrong, I said, oh, should I redo it? Or if I didn't say something correct, I said, oh gosh, I need to redo it. It's a lot of, but I think it's worthwhile. The reason that once you do it, and the next year, next time, you can use the videos that you made before. And, after the first few videos, and then you got, it's natural that I didn't write this letter correctly. I might change that without redoing it. Yeah. I think it's good thing is that I really think it's good thing that the students kind of like now they felt like they took control. So at the very beginning, actually, I would admit that I was a little bit worried that how about and prepare for the class? That will be a disaster, right? There's no way for the flipped classroom. But trust me, the students are good. They did prepare, and every beginning of each class period, I did check, and they did prepare, and I asked them to submit their preparation. Usually I open the Canvas, and so ask them to submit the preparation right before the class starts. And then during the class, we will just ask them, oh, do you have any questions? And then they began to do the group work. I think it is good. Carrie?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for sharing your experiences. And again, I was very impressed with how you've set things up. It's very good. I've got actually two questions, and they're sort of around, I suppose the first one that I was interested in is, I might have misinterpreted it, but looked like you had some marks for in-class participation. Is that because the work that you were doing in class was assigned marks, or did you have did you manage somehow to get past your faculty about getting actual marks for attendance?
Oh, no, that's not. I did that. Do you mean on the Canvas? In Canvas?
Oh yeah, no. You had a slide and you said, I think there was a certain percentage for the preparation work. So I can see how we could do that, because you're obviously submitting the answers to your questions to see if they've done the prep. Then you had in-class participation 15%. And I don't know if I've just assumed that means something different than it is. Like, what does that mean? Does it mean that there was work happening in class that was assigned marks, or were you allowed to assign marks for actual coming to class?
That's the assessment for the class activity. That's 15% for the class. Yeah. So usually when students open that, they should be able to see that handout for that specific class, and then during class, they will work on that. So so usually if the students came to class and they did the group work together, they should get that's points. So 15% for the preparation, 15% for the class participation. Also, like I mentioned before, some students, they might got COVID or cold, they couldn't come to class. And if that's the case, so I always tell them that they should do the handout on their own, but I'm here to help, then they can get credit.
Yes. Oh, no, that's good. That helps just clarify that for me. And I suppose would you also too, because you had some lovely, one of the things for me, it's like, how do we generate this culture of doing things beforehand? And you shared some really good strategies. Can you just recap what are the strategies that you use to engage the students with that preparation material to make sure that they're engaging it? I think one of them is that it's assigned an assessment grade, but what other strategies do you have that that you are using to make sure that they're actually doing it?
Actually, I think that's a very good question. But I felt like, I think the very hard part is the first class. So like usually, like 1 week before the first class started, I would send them email, and also I published the Canvas class. I sent all my students email, tell them that this class will be a flipped classroom. So they need to tell them the rule. Okay, and also it was written very clearly in the syllabus, but I will send them a specific email, tell them that. And then like 3 or 4 days prior to the first class, I also need to remind them about the preparation, tell them that the preparation is part of the assessment at 15%. And another thing that, I felt like it's very important. Don't put too hard problems in the preparation. It just give them some very basic one. Like, when we talk about separable equation, tell them that, write down the general form of the separable equations. Or when we talk about, the exact equation, we can tell them, write down the general form of the exact equation. Give them some very basic one, so the students don't have a fear that they have to master all the material. No, the preparation, they just need to watch the video, they need to read the book, and they just do some very basic one to check. Oh, I did kind of like have the fading, and then since they need to do the very basic problem, they will need to watch the video.
Yeah.
So they will have some basic idea of what's the material and what's the this is about separable equation, that's a general form, and that's kind of like the usual, because when I do like the video for the separable equation, we'll talk about general form and talk about the like 2 or 3 examples, so students had the idea. Then during the class, they will help them each other, and I will be there to help them. And that's what I said. When you have a good class size, you will always kind of like have some students who are really good. So these students, you can separate them in a different group, so they can kind of like your assistant.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I know down here for us, we were forced into a version of flipped because I took our first year paper, and we used to have 3 hours face-to-face lecture, and they cut it to 2. And there was and it's a first year paper where we come in with people that have such a variety of maths. You can't assume anybody knows it. So we didn't want to cut any of our content. So we did the lecture first for the 2-hour lecture that they gave us. We've managed to finally get the timetable to make sure there's a 24-hour gap before they run the first tutorial. And there's 500 students take this paper, and we've taken the second hour and left it for them to watch as an hour. But in our tutorial, they need to have watched that video to be able to answer the questions in the tutorial and participate in the group activity. So the first week, they don't really get it, and they experience, and it gets a bit messy. But I think your way's a lot more cleaner. We sort of had to do ours. We were given like very short notice that this change was coming. But I really like what you're doing, and I'm thinking about how I can incorporate that in. So thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Jeremy?
Hey, thanks for sharing your experience with the flipped classroom. You said you did a lot of videos. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you face issues storing the videos? Like, because there's so many of them, and you actually get enough size. Like, I have issues storing my videos. I'm hitting that problem. So, any tips?
I actually used my iPad Pro and Apple Pen, so the students will not see my face, but they will see whatever I wrote on the iPad and my voice. So it's really kind of like a mini lecture without my face. I love that.
Okay, I see. I don't need.
I'm sorry?
When you're saving the dot video files, like the dot MP4 files, do you have a lot of those?
Yeah, I do have those.
Do you have any tips about how to store them efficiently?
I can show you. I just store that to my computer. I can show you. Just give me 1 second. Or I can show you this one. I think I can go back to the Canvas.
Sorry, can I ask a different question? Do you upload them on YouTube or on Canvas, or how do you share them with students?
I upload them to Canvas, but our school is using Panopto. So I uploaded to Panopto, and then store there. But I also store them in my computer.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
So so I upload that. I think yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. I don't. My school doesn't have Canvas, so I can't share it with them like that. But it wouldn't work. But yeah, thank you.
But I think all the learning platform, they should have the feature to insert the videos there. Yeah, I love the way, I know that some people might use different way to record the video. Like sometimes they do like Panopto to record video. I tried Panopto, but honestly I prefer my way better than Panopto. For the Panopto, it's really hard to write on that, but I just use my iPad Pro and Apple Pen. It's really like you write on the board. I write it and explain it and write it, work on the problem step by step. And it's really kind of like the mini lecture. The only difference that the student couldn't see my face, but which is good. They can see me during the class time.
Okay, so and I had just a comment about you were talking about recording long videos or short videos, right?
Yes.
I think. What I found helpful is for me when I record my lectures, I cut them by question and example by example. And that way, if you make a mistake, you don't have to change the whole video. You can just change locally, right? Yeah. And it's also easier for students to, I find that there's, instead of like one 20-minute video, you have a bunch of 1-minute videos and they can just click whatever they want based on whatever they're doing.
Oh, that's also a very good question. I basically just kind of like told myself that it's okay if I said 3, but I wrote down 4, it's fine. I can say, oh, it should be 3, but I wrote down 4. I felt like it's natural. So that's how at the very beginning, it was so time consuming because, oh gosh, I need to redo it. Oh gosh, I need to redo it. But later on, it's fine. But I think that's a very good idea. Yeah, I think that's a good idea that I might just do, the material first, I mean the theoretical part first, and then do the example one by one. That's very good. But right now, what I did is that I just put the video short. If it's really a long section, I separated it into 2 or 3 parts. So like part 1, and then, part 2 or part 3, something like that. But most of the time, it's like the 5 to 8 minutes should be good. Yep. Any other questions?
Yeah, I'm still trying to think about how I could set this up in a practical way, but I think one important feature is that the pre-lecture activity doesn't need to cover everything, right? I mean,
definitely not.
Just a piece that gets the lecture a little bit more active, right? So
yes, the pre-recorded video, because the students have the access to textbook. And another thing is that, sometimes if you don't like the one section, I don't like how the textbook present it. So like the other person said that I actually try to find some online, so post that part just for that 1 or 2, and then so students can read it, and then for the pre-recorded video, it's just the essential parts. For example, like the exact equation, we can just talk about which kind of equation is exact equation with that condition, right? And then we do 1 or 2 examples. We don't need to cover every single, tiny material, because out of this, you can talk about, either student can notice that. If a student didn't notice that, we can remind them during the class, because you still need to meet them. Like me, I still need to meet them twice a week.
Yeah, I'm meeting twice a week too, and I'm also. Yeah. Would it make sense to only flip the Monday lecture and but because it's to set up flip for every lecture.
I flipped every single class.
Yeah,
I felt like it has been good. I have to say it has been very good. From the students' evaluation, it's amazing. I got everything like 5 out of 5. Every item for the students' course evaluation. I think the way is that you can try, but if you just want to flip one, for example, if your class meets Monday and Wednesday, if you just want to flip Monday, what will you do for Wednesday?
Yeah, and I mean, I would just do what I had been doing in the past, which is
lecture or something.
Lecture, but then I still have active, but I'm
right.
Not
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Just to cut out, and then it's also that the students don't have to. I don't know. I'll see how the time goes. With anything in teaching, you can spend way too long perfecting the curriculum, And if I just make a quick pre-lecture activity and not spend too much time on it, I could probably do it, right? Probably make pre-lecture activities for the whole semester.
Right. I think if you know that you will continue to teach differential equation, and I
Yeah,
think probably it's worthwhile to do all the pre-recorded videos. If you just teach it for 1 or 2 times, I'd say it's really a lot of work to make out of these videos. But
yeah,
for the flip, yeah, go ahead.
I agree. No, I'm just saying I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
For the flipped classroom, another thing is really good that, you can, so like the syllabus, you can set the syllabus, the schedule it very well, and then you can see how it works. My experience is that usually it works very well, unless, like I said, one semester I only had 3 students. So in the middle of the 2 or 3 weeks, I had to mix, the traditional teaching and then combine the traditional teaching with the flipped classroom, depending on which kind of class you might have. Yeah, but so far I think the flipped, I was even thinking to do the college maths, but then it was hard. The reason that it is a multi-section class, we have like more than 10 sections. So we wanted to keep the students have the similar material, similar experience. So
yeah, that could be hard.
yeah, that can be hard. But actually, honestly, my personal feeling that, the intermediate math should be a very good choice for flipped classroom. If there's only 1 section or something.
Yeah, once you have to have a common final exam, or there's other
Right.
sections and students have friends in the other person's section, they start making comparisons.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it can get tricky. I can appreciate that, but
Right.
But I would love to see flipped everywhere. It sounds like a great idea, but not an easy one for the beginning instructor. So it can take a while to get all the little bugs worked out and optimize each little pre-lecture in-class activity and get it all like. You need someone like you who's been doing it a couple times, can smooth all that stuff out. Anyways, thank you for all the good ideas.
Thank you so much. Any other questions?
Thank you for the talk.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.